All right, here we are, day 4, unit 6, lesson 3, properties of trigonometric functions. And the good news is this will be the final day of this unit, or this lesson. So we're going to put together all of the different things we've learned in this lesson. And if we're given one trigonometric function and the sign of another, find the values of the remaining trig functions. So if we know that tangent is 1/2 and sine is less than 0, we want to find the exact value of each of the remaining trigonometric functions. So we'd like to start with figuring out where, in which quadrant this angle is located. So we know that tangent is positive, and we know sine is negative. Tangent is only positive in the first quadrant or the third quadrant, and sine is negative in the third and fourth quadrants. So this has to be in quadrant 3. There are two different approaches that we can take to find the values of the other functions. One is to remember the definitions of our trig functions. Tangent is y over x. And if we're in the third quadrant, x and y are both negative. So we would have x of -2, y of -1. And then we can figure out what the radius of our circle is. X squared plus y squared is going to equal our radius squared. So if we take -2 squared plus -1 squared, we get r squared. This would be 4 plus 1. R squared is equal to 5. Taking the square root, r is equal to the square root of 5. And we don't have to worry about positive and negative because r is the radius of the circle, so we only want the positive value. So we know r is 5, x is -2, y is -1. Cosine of our angle is x over r. And again, we have that square root in the denominator. We're going to get rid of that by multiplying numerator and denominator by that same square root of 5. And square root of 5 times square root of 5 is square root of 25. Square root of 25 is 5. So the cosine is -2 square root 5 over 5. The sine of our angle is y over r, which would be -1 over the square root of 5. Again, multiplying both numerator and denominator by the square root of 5, we would get the opposite of the square root of 5 over 5. Cotangent is x over y. So we would have -2 over -1, which is just +2. cosecant is r over x. So we have square root of 5 over negative 2. And we can just write that with the negative out front. And cosecant is r over y, which would be the square root of 5 over negative 1, which would be the same as the opposite or negative square root 5. I said this is one way that you can approach this. The other way would be using the identities from lessons 2 and 3, which I think is a little bit more difficult. I think this way is just a little more straightforward, a little bit easier to deal with. So your assignment will be on Schoology, lesson 3, day 4. Good luck with that, and I will talk to you again